Hello everyone, I'm Cody.
And I'm Liz.
Welcome to Unit 17, Entrepreneur. Now, what the next gentleman in the story does might put us all to shame. Put somebody to shame.
Put somebody to shame.
Because just at the age of 17, a Harvard freshman, Hong-Suk Kwon actually started 2 businesses.
Wow.
At the age of 17, which is amazing, absolutely puts me to shame. Age 17, I don't think I was thinking anything business. But he kind of gave his story about the fact that when he was younger, going through high school, he was bullied and he, didn't quite fit in and wanted to actually do something. So he focused most of his time into starting a clothing company, which became known as Olaga Studios. And it was a fashion design company that really created designs as well as clothing around unisex. And these were non-conforming gender identities, nothing too macho and nothing hyper-feminist, or feminine, I should say. And it was this style a lot of people could choose and they liked because it really didn't conform to the social standards. And it, appealed to so many young people, in fact, that in 2020, he had $1 million in sales. Conform.
Conform.
Now, that was just one company. And the second company he's focusing on while attending Harvard is actually on a kind of watch for the blind. It's specifically this Braille smartwatch. Mm-hmm. And I'll explain more of that later, but fascinating that, this is a, very young entrepreneur.
Wow.
And so I want to ask you,
yes,
what did you do or how did you spend your time when you were 17?
I was not starting companies.
Neither was I.
I was mostly studying and doing like after school club activities and that kind of thing. I actually went to a boarding school, but I was a day student. So I commuted to school and I still spent like 90% of my time at school.
Yeah.
So I went home to sleep and I ate dinner there, I ate breakfast there. So I was, hanging with my friends and doing a lot of studying and just, doing singing and dancing and other activities, but not working and not starting companies. What were you doing when you were 17?
Not very different from you, except I went to public school. I was involved in some clubs and activities in my high school, and I also was on the golf team. So I spent a good, obviously most of my time at the school. After that, a good 3-4 hours at the golf range. I would go home, study, homework, sleep, and repeat. Pretty much 5 days a week. It was devoting time to school, golf practice, and home. That was it. Okay. So not very different from most 17-year-olds.
Right.
Maybe I had less fun at that age. A later period of my 17th year, I was closer when I was 18. My father was actually pushing me to work. So I also had a kind of part-time job, which I wanted to ask you, did you have a job when you were around that age?
I did not.
Okay.
My school life was so busy that I didn't really have time for working. But my sister was very self-motivated and really interested in lots of things. And so she started working when she was maybe 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
And just kept doing part-time jobs, straight until she got her first real job. So did you follow your father's advice and get the job, or?
Well, I had to follow. It's not that I wanted to.
It was not advice, it was...
Yeah, it was more mandatory. He was of the military background, and he said, son, you're going to live in my house, you're going to work. So that was...
So 17 was the age that you decided.
Now, before that, I kind of had some part-time jobs, similar to your sister, as you said, but 17 is when I actually started working more full-time hours, like 35 to 40 hours.
And studying and playing golf?
Yes. So by the end of 17, I had kind of cut down on more golf time and spent a good 6, 7 hours in the evening, afternoon, and working.
What were you doing?
Various different jobs. Until I graduated and I got something a little more permanent in a way. But until that point, it was odd end and part-time. And now for the language focus. First up, depending on who, what, when, where, why, or how. For my example, depending on who you ask, you'll get different opinions about Squid Game.
The next point is what is even more. So for example, it was really annoying when the restaurant got my order wrong. But what was even more annoying was that they never apologized for it.
Ooh, terrible. All right, well, that's it for our preview section. We'll see you on the review.